Ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. I am Safian FM, and we have today a tactic called Total Football. Yes, we've covered a couple Total Footballs before, but this one is by someone on the Steam Workshop called Remy. It says, the reincarnation of Total Football, everyone defends and everyone attacks. Enjoy and note the tactic if you enjoyed it. There is some comments in there. There's a lot of screenshots, which is fantastic to see, so definitely check it out when you get a chance. Starting out, it is with a sweeper keeper in support, a wide center back, which we haven't seen much on both sides, and then a libero in the middle. A complete wing back on the left and a complete wing back on the right. Box to box is both on both sides of the midfield. Inside forwards in support on both sides, and then an advanced forward up front in attack. Attacking mentality in possession. Attacking width is fairly narrow. Approach play is pass into space. Overlap in the left and right. Play out of defense. Passing directness is standard. Tempo is slightly higher. Mix crosses, work the ball in the box, run at defense, and be more expressive. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute quickly, distribute to the center backs, and throw it long. And then out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a much higher defensive line, trigger press much more often, prevent goalkeeper distribution, get stuck in, trap inside, and stop crosses. I could barely read that for a second. Now, how did it do for our three teams? As you could see, Tottenham did not too bad. 68 points, definitely where they should be. Wolves and Newcastle, 52 and 51 points apiece. So not great there. Wolves probably right about average, but Tottenham doing somewhat well. Schedule-wise, Tottenham starting out not on the greatest foot. Not a great August or September, but they do pick it up in October with 2 losses and a draw, but everything else is nice and green. They do continue in all cups until the first match post-World Cup. Man City 1-3, Carabao Cup 4th round loss. Not great. FA Cup, however, and Champions League you continue on. FA Cup quarters is where you drop out against Arsenal 0-3. And then Champions League, PSG in the quarters. Not the greatest. However, a fantastic May definitely brings you up a bit in the table. Now, I am not used to having Wolves higher up than Newcastle in these tactic talks. However, not a bad August. Continuing on, a 1-2 loss in the Carabao Cup 3rd round against Manchester United in November. FA Cup, you do continue on until the 5th round, 0-1 against Tottenham, and then just spotty there on out. Newcastle definitely not having a fantastic first half of the season. You do continue on in the Cups, however, up until actually Carabao Cup final. You get to the final, which is fantastic. You lose out to Manchester City 2-5, though. FA Cup 5th round, the game after, 2-2 draw loss in penalties against West Ham. And then everything else is just spotty as usual. Transfer-wise, nothing really new, although Hugo Lloris does go out on my birthday. 4.3 million to Qatar. Incomings, you do have Luis Semedo from Benfica. Barbosa comes in, is always a nice player. Bika from MRT. Vickers, and then Bikian again from Juve, always comes in. For Wolves, Adama Traore to Man City this time, 43 million. I guess Tottenham's bid was probably rejected. But Yuri Medeiros from Braga, and then Barreiro from Mainz for 15 million. 2 players I have not really seen come in before. At least Medeiros, maybe? I don't remember. Nobody out for Newcastle except for loans. They do bring in Kayard from FC Metz for 325k, and then Mohamed Kudus from Ajax for 55 million. That's a big one. So what does that mean for our squads? Eric Dyer this time around, 44 plus 4 appearances. Kulusevski with 43 and 3, as does Perisic. Goals-wise, 39 for Kane. He's up there yet again. Son with 12, 11 for Kulusevski. Assist-wise, 18 for Porro. That's got to be tops or thereabouts. 12 for Kulusevski. Son with 10. Average rating, you got some good players there. Kane with 738. That's finally getting up to where they should be. Davinson Sanchez for 711, and then Christian Romero for 706. Wolves squad, Jose Sa, Collins, and Kielman all up there in the tops of appearances. Goals, 36 for Geddes, who's not even there. Jimenez with 22, 11 for Cunha, and 8 for Neto. So, not too bad. The 22 for Jimenez is a little bit above average. It's actually probably pretty above average thereabouts. But assist-wise, wow. 8 for Semedo, 7 for Neto, and 6 for Neves. Awful showings there. 714 for Collins. Jimenez was 707, as does Nunez. Overall, I mean, they may be above Newcastle by a point, but wow, it's really not great. And speaking of Newcastle, 46 plus 1 appearances for Isaac. Only the plus 1 above for with Trippier. 45 plus 1 for St. Maximin. Goals, 44 for Isaac. Insane as usual. 16 for St. Maximin and 10 for Jolinton. Assists, on the lesser side of average for these clubs. St. Maximin with 14, 13 for Trippier, and 10 for Almiron and Jollington. 749 for Alexander Isaac. That is a great place to be. He's usually up there when he does really well. 719 for Jollington. Dan Byrne with 709. Data hub for all three teams. Generally, they're shaky in defense, very good in attack. As you can see, some good attacking numbers. Not nearly as good as you would expect them to be, up in that, what is it, sixth spot or fifth spot or something like that. But they're still good enough to get up to where they were. And defensively, yeah, not great. But if we look at Wolves next, a little bit overall better rounded, shaky defensively, good in attack. As you can see, not quite as good attacking numbers. Their goals per game is definitely down from Tottenham. And then if we look at Newcastle, actually more roundabout attacking numbers, much better there. Shaky defensively, as we've seen before. Premier League stats, all three teams do make the most goals. However, fewer shots against, only Tottenham and Wolves, and it's on the lesser side. But most shots for, you get all three teams. Newcastle with 649. Most tackles won. You do have a bit of defensive work in there. Best pass completion, nobody. I mean, it's just not great. Most dribbles made. Newcastle is up there, but again, dribbles made is really on the average side for what we generally see in all these tactic talks. Player overview for the Premier League. Haaland, of course, 36 goals right there. Isaac, though, with 29. Kane with 27. Jimenez with 19. It's actually good to see a Wolves player in there no matter what. But most assists, St. Maximin and Porro in there. 10 is on the higher side of average for what we generally see in all of these lists. Most man of the match awards, Isaac and Kane. I mean, you get some players in here, but overall, no tackles won. So again, shaky, extremely shaky defensively. Key passes, Trippier, Sarabia not in the list, and most shots. Isaac is up there. St. Maximin and Kane get in there. Kane only with 98. But overall, I mean, this tactic didn't work as well as we'd hoped. Tottenham do get into the Europa League in 5th spot. Apologies. But 68 points, you'd really want to get higher than that. They generally probably get around 65 or there abouts if you just simmed a normal tactic. But, again, this is just a sim. If you took control of these teams, doing your own your own training, your own shouts with this tactic during match time, and everything else with it, your own transfers, you could probably do a lot better. But that is it for me, Safian FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.